I just want to make this video to sort of document the progress that I am making and things that I'm going through and experiencing while I am quitting drinking alcohol, and the withdrawals and all of the things that I have been experiencing from stopping drinking. Some of the absolute darkest days have been experienced during this time. I'm going through a lot of things, things that I did not realize that were going to happen, things that I was completely unaware of. I'd done, like probably a lot of people do, when you're thinking about quitting, I looked up videos on YouTube, like how long would it take for me to stop feeling, crappy from this. And some of those videos were pretty encouraging, talking about 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, the things you can expect during, those time frames, and the differences that you can see in your own body and your skin as you begin to heal and remove the toxins and poisons from your body. And those are great. Those are, it's good information. A lot of people out there putting out that information, and it's extremely appreciated. But one of the things that I did not see, and maybe it's for a reason, but I kind of wanted to highlight some of this. But the things that I didn't see were some of these difficult moments, times. I know everybody's going to be different. Everyone's going to react differently and have their own experiences. Different people have, length of time you drank, the type of alcohol, whatever factors out there that could potentially be involved in how a single person feels when they're going through this. So I'm going to talk about what I'm going through and the things that I'm experiencing. And I'm going to be flat out honest here before I even begin kind of breaking down some of the things. Had I known the things that were going to happen during this process, I would not have quit. I would not have done this. I would have just kept going with being drunk every day. So none of this is intended to discourage anyone. In fact, I'm hoping the opposite might occur. Because I'm going to tell you, when I realized just how difficult it was going to be, I was too far in to give up, to stop. Personally, anyways, I suppose that there's other factors involved for other situations that could have occurred, but I was ready to quit. It was time. It was beyond time. It's been 86 days. Before I made this video, I was contemplating all the things that I wanted to talk about. And, the time frame of how long ago it was that I stopped. And I thought it had been like 4 months. It felt like it had been like pretty much solid going into 4 months. And so I sat down to get some of this information together so that I could document it. And when I realized it was only 86 days, while that is something that is an accomplishment, I'm trying to just wrap my head around the fact that so it's not over yet, that it's still going. I guess it doesn't even matter how many days it is, as long as if you're still going through it, you're still experiencing it, you're still having the changes in your body taking effect, the fact that your brain takes alcohol and turns it into its fuel source, and when you're not eating properly or barely at all, but all you're doing is drinking alcohol, your brain uses that as its source of fuel. And I quit drinking completely, and my brain had no fuel. I didn't realize what was going on when this first started happening. The brain fog and the fatigue and the lack of coordination and the almost inability to even stand up and walk without feeling so dizzy that I was just going to fall flat on my face. I thought that it had to be something more, that it had to be some sort of physical ailment that I had caused myself from being an alcoholic for 13, 14, 15 years, however long it's exactly been. I thought for sure that I'd done some sort of irreparable damage, and so I began to see doctors and go through the process of trying to figure out what's going on. And it just continued to get worse and got worse and got worse. And then by the time I'd seen a few doctors, had some imaging tests done, blood work, all that sort of thing, and everything was pretty much coming back okay, I'm realizing that it's not a physical ailment that I'd caused. It's the withdrawals. It's the kicking this garbage out of my system. And it's excruciating. I reached a point where I did want to quit. I did want to stop, but I was so far into it that had I stopped, I hesitate to even make this video, because discussing it, saying that I'm going to quit drinking, putting this video out there that says, hey, I quit drinking, but now I'm suffering from these symptoms while I'm going through this process, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And if I can't make it, then it's proof positive that I'm a failure. I avoided speaking the words for so long because, again, if I say it and then I don't follow through and I continue to drink, I'm a failure. I make this video, I post it, I can delete it later. Potentially someone has seen it prior to me deleting it if I decided to do that, just so it wasn't something hanging on the internet that shows that I'm a failure. All the things that I was using as an excuse not to stop. And frankly, I'm a little angry. No, I'm actually quite a bit more than just a little angry. I'm pretty upset with myself for the things that I have done, the money that I spent and wasted on alcohol all these years, the things that I've broken out of drunken anger, the relationships lost, the jobs lost, the certainty that I have disappointed people with those decisions. I'm going to try to make a few of these videos, maybe just to document and post. And again, if anybody watches it and if there's anything useful, great. But I'm putting a moment here of accountability for myself so that I make it even more difficult for me to give up. My mother passed away in March, and 1 month after totally increasing my alcohol intake, I got so sick that I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I was in massive pain, stomach and abdominal cramping. I decided, okay, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to use that pain of dealing with losing my mother, and I'm going to go ahead and use these moments of, if I'm already going to be going through pain, you know what, let's just wrap it all into one and do it all at the same time. And so quitting drinking on top of grieving my mother's passing, and the guilt that I feel for not being able to be there. She passed away living in another state. I wasn't able to make it up there to visit prior to her passing, and she wanted me to very badly, and I had reasons, I had excuses, I had work, I have all sorts of things going on in my life where I live. I couldn't afford to go. I definitely could not afford to go, but hey, if I hadn't been spending all my money on alcohol, maybe I could have. But also, I'm trying to find ways to stop beating myself up, to stop just perpetuating this cycle of guilt and reasons to give up. I weaponize those things against myself to justify. And to give myself a reason, so that if anybody were to say otherwise, I will tell you right now, I've got a reason. And I've got an absolute truckload of reasons. Let me start pulling them all out. Well, yeah. No, I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm wanting to just discuss the difficulties and to let anybody know, and to let myself know when I do come back and watch this video of how difficult this is. Don't give up. I'm not through it yet, but I can actually feel every day a teeny tiny micrometer, little bit of an advancement every day. And for the longest time, I was just continuing to get worse and worse and worse, and then I plateaued and stayed there, and it has felt like it has been months, but I am now actually progressing. I work outside in the desert, in the heat, and having energy that just disappears, or lack of, or no coordination, or no balance, or when you tell your foot to take a step and it does this weird thing that's not a step because your brain and your foot aren't connecting with that message, or the fog is just so intense that you halfway forget what you're even doing when you're standing there. I'm getting better. I'm getting there. And I just needed to, I felt like I really needed to begin this conversation and talk about things that I felt like I shouldn't talk about. I've been trained my whole life and have it ingrained into me that you don't talk about things. You don't discuss issues that are difficult, especially if you're going through something difficult that somebody else might be going through, and you don't want to discourage them. Be the example. And well, yeah, I became the example of all the wrong things. So I'm going to try to make some more videos after this, but I needed to get this one out there and go from there. I needed to drop an anchor, drop a point, drop a moment that says 86 days. 86 days. And it's okay to be proud. And I'm going to keep going. So, it's going to be it for now. If you want to ask me a question or leave a comment, you can.